Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Terra Mystica. It's still season 38 of the Terra Mystica tournament. I guess also called the League, since it's kind of a league structure. But I guess the official name is TM Tour, right? So it's a tournament. This is my Player 4 faction selection video. In this game, Darklings, Witches, and Swarmlings have been picked, which is even in itself kind of interesting, right? Because Swarmlings were picked right into a color sandwich. They're in between green and black, which is something that for a lot of factions you would like to avoid. Often it's not so bad because for example, mermaids don't really mind being sandwiched between darklings and witches because mermaids like to be over here and darklings mostly like to be over here, sort of, right? I think the same is probably true of Darklings, and even more so because they don't really care that much about having neighbors in their second town because their stronghold ability gives them trading posts for free. So Darklings often or Swarmlings, that is, often end up putting a town, somewhere down here where like nobody really wants to talk to them at all, and so they don't care that much about someone, say, fighting for the black tiles because Darklings are never fighting for I2, right? Or even H3. It's 2 digs away, but it's like not the worst. So I will say though, it was like, gosh, what, a day and a half or something? Actually, almost 2 whole days because, yeah, Seb was waiting almost 2 days to pick this, but did actually choose a faction in other games earlier, so it was clear that like I think Seb really is not just like not present, but wanted to put a lot of thought into faction selection is my guess. I can't really think that deeply, so we're not doing anything super fancy here. But since this game sat for a while with just player 1 waiting to choose, I had a chance to look at it and kind of think about what factions I might like without any idea what anyone else is picking. And I hoped that I might get witches. There's like the late game town scoring is fine. Witches often can manage 3 towns, and so this is very nice for them. It wouldn't be the end of the world to get like 2 of them early or something, and you miss out on the 5 points for the 3rd town, but you make it easier to get the 3rd town, so I don't know. But also, like, we start with air scoring, which means the witches get like a boost to their early economy. And I don't know. I've never played witches in a competitive setting yet, just as I've never played cultists in a competitive setting, except for the game in this season that I've started as cultists. I, as still a fairly new player, I might venture to describe myself as intermediate, certainly no better than that. I've sort of learned a style of playing, which is like, it's pretty popular to open with the temple, get Earth 1, and then like just try to build a bunch of stuff and get points out of that. There are many other styles that I don't know as well. For example, like turn 1 stronghold as nomads is like totally fine. It's a little bit harder, I feel like, because you have to work more with the round scoring and the scoring bonus tiles to turn your extra economy into points. But especially if you can start with like a stronghold scoring, you're off on the right foot. And in fact, in this game, one reason nomads are especially often picked in player 4 is that, if this tile is in the game, player 4 can guarantee to get it. And nomads are one of those factions who can tolerate opening stronghold instead of temple without too much burden, right? So anyway, that is to say, but I'm still more familiar with the temple into Earth 1 kind of thing. And so I don't typically think of witches as a stronghold first faction. But I think on this board that would be quite good. That's what I expect the witches player to do. And I think, stronghold first is not an uncommon witches opening. It's like 40% of the time, maybe it's even more, I don't know, something like that. 50 plus or minus 20. So, and here, the very late town scoring makes it quite appealing, I think, to have witches. There's a long time for the witch's stronghold to be paying off over, getting you many dwellings for free while you work on, trading posts and temples to get you the priest income you need. You don't need shipping, which, by the way, there's no shipping bonus in this game and no shipping scoring bonus either. So that's another reason that witches seem kind of cool, is that their stronghold ability to place a dwelling on any green tile on the board means that they suffer less than anyone else from the relative scarcity of shipping. Well, maybe not less than dwarves and fakirs, but less than most factions, and certainly most that want to start with a stronghold or sanctuary in round 1. So I was hoping I might get witches. I didn't have any particular reason to believe I would or wouldn't. I figured I'd just wait, and I didn't. Someone picked witches in seat 2. I still don't really understand the Swarmlings pick. Like, yeah, there's early stronghold scoring, but you're unlikely to get the stronghold bonus tile because whoever goes 4th will want it. So I don't know. It's like fine, but picking into a sandwich and also kind of like, I don't know. I guess Swarmlings are an okay faction. I don't really know how well they do, but apparently they've been doing pretty well in Division 1 recently, in the games in which they are picked anyway. And I think they've been picked sort of more often than you might think. No. I think they're one of those factions that doesn't get picked very often, but when they do, it does quite well. Kind of like halflings. Anyway, all this to say, I won't get witches. And I think there are like 4 reasonable choices, maybe. The ones that I have in mind are nomads. Notably, by the way, since all 3 factions are sort of clustered on this end of the color wheel, if I pick yellow or red, I have no color neighbors, which is quite nice. And if I pick gray, I have to deal with witches. Apparently, dwarves are somewhat better at dealing with witches than engineers are, because you can like tunnel around them and stuff. And this board, which lacks access to shipping, sort of suggests, hey, maybe dwarves could be a thing. But I don't really see much reason to pick dwarves in the round scoring tiles. There's some argument for them, I think, in the bonus tiles. Maybe? I don't know. But so I think the nomads are playable. The dwarves might be playable, but like probably it's not good. And I think actually either red faction looks sort of playable. Maybe. Certainly Chaos Magicians, maybe Giants. Giants are generally not very good, but they do like to start with their stronghold. And there's spade scoring coming up in round 2. So that's kind of cool. You just get like 4 points for free again from your stronghold in round 2. So you get a lot for the giant stronghold. But other than that, I think they're basically, well, giants most of the time are a worse nomads, right? They get a similar kind of like dig something for free stronghold. But they also have a harder time digging other stuff because of the 2 digs. They're especially good if you just want to like fight with people. Because you can use that ability more than once per round if you like. If you want to place yourself someplace where you're surrounded by triple digs, giants are better at that than nomads are. But you typically don't want to do that, so nomads are usually better. But the air and fire cult bonuses are like, those are the giants tiles, and if we could somehow like say get the priest power action in round 1, we could get like 2 worker bonuses for round 2. I still want the strongholds bonus tile, but we could take the power action for a priest maybe. On the other hand, the Darklings might very well beat us to it, or someone else. Like, is there any reason to pick Fakirs here? I don't think there is, but I would like to rule it out. The Priest bonus tile is here, which they appreciate a lot. And I forget, actually, does their no, their Sanctuary still only gives... their Stronghold... What is this? The Stronghold gives a Priest income, and also increases your shipping range, or your carpet range. I was thinking that the Sanctuary gave you an extra Priest, but no, it's actually the Stronghold that does. Interesting. So... Anyway, let's undo this move before something disastrous happens. I just wanted to have an easy way to look at their faction board. So I don't know, like, if you open Stronghold and, like, if there were round 2 dwelling scoring, I'd be pretty happy, actually, to give the Fakirs a try, maybe, because something notable about the basic the base map, like the pre-expansion map, is that a bunch of yellow tiles are exactly distance 2 away from each other. And if you get your Stronghold to get a Priest in, you can just start shipping Priests everywhere. But I don't know. Without dwelling scoring, it's not that appealing to do so. On the other hand, here's an interesting thought. There won't be much competition for Earth 1 in the first round, right? The Darklings might take it, although I don't think they should. I think they should take, like, Fire 1, and then in round 2 or 3 get their Sanctuary and try to take Earth 1 then. But I think both Witches and Swarmlings will get their Stronghold. It's pretty hard to get a temple as well as a Stronghold in round 1, since it takes like 2, 6, 8, 10 workers for an ordinary faction, and you only start with 6. So it's possible, but very difficult. I think the Swarmlings have the best chance of it because their stuff costs more, but they also start with a bunch more as well, right? They're going to start with 10 workers, and I would, we'd have to check, like, so it's 3, 6, 9, 14 workers. So they have to come up with 4 extra, which I guess is the same as other factions? I don't know. I've certainly seen Swarmlings make it to Sanctuary plus, or to Stronghold. Oh, right. They don't have to build the extra trading post. One of them they get for free. So it's actually only 3, 6, 11 workers. And they start with 10. No, they start with 12. Yeah, so they have enough workers that they could do both of those things in round 1, but they're going to have to do it, like, slowly. They can't rush the temple. You have to get the Stronghold first for that to work. And the Witches, I think, are going to get the Stronghold. That's what I would do if I were Witches. I think it's a great board for the Witches ride. And so what that means is I might, Player 4 often has trouble getting Earth 1, which is like the best scoring tile most of the time. Right, 2 points for each dwelling. In this position, I should be able to actually secure it if I want. One way to do that, the most ambitious way, I think, would be to open Nomads and get like a Stronghold and a dwelling and maybe a trading post this round, and then next round try to get a temple early. And you might be able to do that before the Earth ones are gone. A more conservative approach, I think, would be to take Chaos Magicians, because it's very easy, very natural for you to get a Temple on turn 2 anyway, and you can pick up Earth 1 at that point, and then you follow up with your Sanctuary, and you're kind of loaded. I think those are the two best choices. I just don't know which one to go with. I don't think Giants are really very exciting. Another thing to think about is how much access to power actions and digs will there be? And the answer is it's hard to dig this game, right? There's only 3 power down here. 6 of the 9 is gone. And there's no free digs. We're missing the digging action and 2 of the power bonus tiles. And there's only, like, okay, this is, like, very, very late power income, but there's no dig income. Holy cow, I didn't notice how drastically low on digs this game is. So you really want a faction that can dig, I think. The reason I started on this train of thought was I was thinking, like, well, you know, there's air income at the end of round 1. Would it be reasonable if you were Chaos Magicians to have one of your income tiles be the air 2 income tile, the one that gives you 4 power per turn, per round? And I think that it would not be very good because, well, I don't know, maybe. There's very little power to go around in this game, and so having more of it will put you in a good position, right? But on the other hand, there's also very few digs, and so you expect the dig power actions to be hotly contested. And if you're just taking 4 power per turn, you can't spend it on digs. Like, what exactly do you want to spend it on, right? Nothing much. You could spend it on coins, but I don't know. If you wanted the coin income, like, in some sense, taking this coin power action is kind of like converting 4 power to coins and then getting 3 extra coins for free. So I don't know. If you just take Fire 1, you get 3 coins for free every round without having to actually land the coin power action. Now, of course, you don't get the 4 power, so it's like, I don't know. If you could guarantee every round getting the 7 coin power action, then the air 2 favor, here it is, would, I think, generally be better than the Fire 1 favor. Because it gives you 2 coins if you convert the power to coins. And it also gives you access to a power action that gives you 3 more. So it's kind of like 5 coins per turn, per round, plus more flexibility. But you can't actually guarantee that. 7 coins is hotly contested, and other players will be taking it. There are a lot of coin bonus things around here, though, which suggests you might not need Fire 1 so badly. So, the other thing that I'm, like, thinking about is you kind of want a faction who is willing to upgrade digging, right? And Chaos Magicians are kind of famously relatively willing to upgrade digging. And you also, I think, want a faction who can tolerate not having digging. I.e., like, if they have access to shipping, for example. And Chaos Magicians are red, and red is a faction that has access to pretty good shipping. There's, like, a slight kink here in that, given the colors we have, I would like to start on D4. That's kind of the Chaos Magician's favorite starting point, and there's no real reason not to take it here. I guess the main risk would be witches on F4 to E7. That would cut me off and be somewhat unpleasant. But, I don't know, are the witches going to be able to do that if they're getting their stronghold in round 1? They could. But they have to find, like, a dig and a worker, right? Because, like, the problem with starting here is that it's a little bit hard to get to the tiles where you can start shipping more easily. Right? If you start on G3 or D6, you have easier access to the shipping lanes. And Chaos Magicians tend to build up before they build out. So it's hard to, like, start by grabbing E7 and E8, for example. Lovely as that would be. Because, like, okay, one thing to talk about here is where exactly do we expect the other factions to start, right? They're gonna, if I pick Chaos Magicians, they're gonna have to place all their dwellings before I go. You kind of expect witches to go here. And Swarmlings here seems reasonable for their one town that needs contact with the outside world. This is a pretty reasonable blue town that, like, you put a bridge here and, like, you're set. This is another one, but they're not going to have any neighbors here, so that's maybe their second dwelling. Maybe D2, D5 is like a Swarmlings thing. I'm not sure if that's the most popular Swarmlings opening, but it seems plausible to me anyway. And the Darklings? Oh, right, where's the Witch's second thing going? Could go here to sort of court the Darklings. Or maybe here? Then they're kind of fighting the Darklings for H4 and me for E7, which I guess they don't really want. So I kind of expect Swarmlings on D2 and D5. Witches kind of seems like they want F4, right? But that won't have a neighbor, so maybe not. They have to get one neighbor somewhere so that they can build their stronghold without having to build an expensive trading post. They can't guarantee neighborhood with me anywhere, unless maybe they went with C3, which seems very rude. Like, they're not very happy about it being penned in between me and the Swarmlings and nowhere much to go. So I don't think they would do that. They could try F4, but there's no reason to believe I would join them on G2. So I think that their neighbor requirement is likely to come from the Darklings. I guess if they try E9, they can have either me or the Darklings. They might want me to go to D7. So maybe the Witches would start on, like, E9 and F4 to give them the ability to take E7 before I can get there, is something they might try to do. If they do that as Chaos Magicians, am I happy to take D7 instead? I mean, I'm not thrilled about it, but it does provide me a bunch of territory that no one really wants, even if it costs me a bridge. And it's kind of a perfect place for a sanctuary town, because I only really want to build one bridge to connect up these three. Right, Witches will probably go here at some point, so I can make this into a trading post. I have a 6-tile town here. Town scoring is coming up late, but I can just delay building that temple, right? Or I can build it early if I need some more income or something. So I think D7 is playable for me, and I should get quite a lot of leech if Witches and Darklings are both here. And I'm upgrading to a sanctuary, right? And it gives me a relatively safe tile, right? C5 is much less likely to be stolen from me than E7. And I also have then easy shipping access to D6 and A12. I have to upgrade shipping, of course, which is a bummer, but whatever. And then I'm not sure where to go from there. It would be nice to go this way, but I expect the Witches will have taken E7 by that point. So maybe I take E8 or B4 with 2 shipping, that opens up several new places, but I have to get 2 shipping, which kind of sucks. I don't know, I'm coming around to the idea that Chaos Magicians seem better than Nomads here. I don't know, though. We talked so much about scarcity of digs, right? And Nomads just, like, instantly solve that problem. They get Sandstorm. And I might even manage to get Earth 1 in the second round because everybody's going for the Stronghold early, right? And I'll have more workers than they will, I guess. It does seem really nice to not be so reliant on power actions or upgrading digging, which you can't do for a little while. Especially if you have to upgrade shipping as well as the Chaos Magicians, right? Like, that's a lot of priests to invest. And a lot of coins and a fair number of workers. Whereas if you could just go Nomads and, you know... Are the other players going to start in the same place for Nomads as they would for Chaos Magicians? Probably. Seems reasonable. Where would I start, right? Like, maybe G4 to get in the Darkling's way a bit. And then like E8 and F3. Or I could annoy the Swarmlings by giving them a neighbor even though they don't really want one and enjoy a little bit of leech. Take D3 if they do go like D7. That's a thought. And of course there are good cult bonuses for Nomads. We start with a bit of earth and a bit of fire. And you know, yellow has no color neighbors either. Something we haven't talked about, by the way, is why I dismissed cultists so easily. It's because there's no digs, right? Mostly, and also because of all this like early Sanctuary Stronghold scoring. Like, you could maybe build a Sanctuary round 3, it's fine. But like, all this stuff just is not good for cultists, really. And there's no way for them to get digs easily. They would love to get it from the scoring tiles, and they can't. So I just don't think cultists are very good here. If we had green and gray in the game, cultists are pretty good at that. But with just gray, I don't think there's enough excuse. And the scoring track sucks for them, so I don't know. And I did talk about making your own digs, and that's what halflings are famously good at, right? That would sandwich the Darklings, which might annoy them a bit, I guess. But as I said before, blue likes to be over here and black likes to be over here, so it's not that big a deal for them. I might just be making things harder for myself. Halflings tend to be better when the spade scoring comes later because they love digs. And it's more realistic to get your digging upgraded to level 3 or level 2, I guess, by round 4 than it is by round 2. That's not to say they're unplayable, but I would need a pretty darn good reason. And I think that Nomads do about as good a job as digging as the halflings do, while also like being able to do other good stuff. Like, for example, start with the Stronghold, which I want to do, and the halflings would kind of hate to do. So I think this is actually a Nomads game. Yeah. I'm a little bit worried about starting here. Like, the witches might cut me off at e7 before I'm finished sandstorming, but I don't think they will, because they're going to be rushing their stronghold as well. And they're going to need some power to come up with a dig, and they might not even get it, because the Darklings might upgrade a structure that's not adjacent to the witches. Actually, did I talk about where the Darklings should put their stuff? One here seems quite reasonable to partner with the witches, but where's their second one going? They might go here, actually, to snipe the Darklings the same way I'm thinking of doing with D3. And they have access to this area up here with a bridge, which is not too bad, plus shipping through this area eventually. They could try this and eventually become friends with the witches, who will expand this way and kind of bridge a town through here is their dream. Maybe if I offer the Darklings G4, they'll take G5 and thereby restrict themselves to the eastern continent, which would kind of be, I think, nice for me. Yeah, I think I'll pick nomads. It's a tough choice, though, I think. I would really love for witches not to get any power in the first round. But they might very well take this bonus tile, actually, the worker in power. That would be quite nice for them, because it gets them e7 a bit more easily, which I think they quite want. Well, yeah, they want this town. They also want this town, though. And the Darklings are quite liable to take away g6 before they can get it, so maybe they won't get it. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see how it goes. I'm obviously opening with the stronghold, and I'll still have 2 workers left, so I can sandstorm, build a dwelling, and hopefully I'll have come up with enough power to maybe upgrade a dwelling to a trading post as well. Would be nice. What's my stronghold cost? Costs 8, so 11 to just build my stronghold, 13 to put down a dwelling, and if I can find a worker and a coin, which costs at least 4 power, meaning I have to have, like, it costs 4 bull 3 power, right, which is the same as 8 bull 2 power, so I only need to gain 1 power to make that playable, to make it legal. But I don't know if I'm excited to do it with having to burn 4 to get there. Maybe I am. I'd rather, like, I don't know, not have to burn 4, or be able to get even more power so that I can get 2 workers instead of just 1. But that's my idea, is to, like, start here, here, and maybe here, I'm not sure. Try to get e7 before the witches can. Actually, like, nobody wants f3. I can maybe just wait, plow my way through there with sandstorms, and, like, take e8, d3, and g4. It should be relatively easy to connect all that up and try to form 3 towns here-ish, here-ish, and here-ish. It's going to be tough to get the third one, I guess. The Darklings are going to be fighting over here, and maybe the witches as well. So maybe I go this way. Or maybe this is the dwelling I'm going to place last, actually, because I don't want Darklings to know they'll have a neighbor at g5. I want to be able to just sandstorm g5 before they get here, and that would make my life much easier. I have a much straighter shot to g7, which the Darklings might not be able to get to. Yeah, alright, we're going to take nomads and see how it goes. Save that action. Alright, this was definitely the hardest faction selection of the bunch here. Let's actually, while we're here, go review what happened in the other games. There've been a few moves made in some of the games and not in others. But let's see. Is this my player one game? No. We'll look at my player one game first. I was surprised again to see Swarmlings. They have trading post scoring early, which is I mentioned in one of my faction selection videos, maybe this one actually, that or the one for this game, I mean, that Swarmlings really require Sanctuary Stronghold scoring in round one. A much stronger Terra Mystica player has been watching my videos and providing me advice, and wanted to point out that that actually trading post scoring is worth more points for Swarmlings than Stronghold scoring in round one, right? They get 2 trading posts, one on their way to the Stronghold and one as the free action from the Stronghold. So this is actually a perfectly lovely first round Swarmlings tile. But I was quite surprised to see like, you see blue and green, but usually they're mermaids and engineers, right? I'm a little surprised to see Swarmlings and dwarves, is all I'm saying. Maybe dwarves are, I don't know. Now, like, obviously there is no shipping or shipping scoring in this game, so that's, you know, a point in favor of the dwarves for sure. But this game is missing a fair chunk of coins, so I would have thought you would prefer engineers here. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. And this is my player 3 game. We've started with dwelling placement, and I did talk about whether player 2 might have looked at the other player's statistics and guessed that Eljaz might choose witches and therefore tried to secure cultists ahead of time for the engineers witches thing. Yeah, and the witches took shipping in round 1, which is a little surprising to me. I know that witches in general, like, if there's a dwelling scoring round and witches can get access to shipping, they can often build a large number of dwellings in round 1. Especially if there's no gray player on c5. You can, like, start here and here and, like, ship to 1, 2, dig here is 3, 4, 5. It's relatively easy to get 5 dwellings down in round 1 as witches if you have some shipping. But I'm a little surprised to see that happen when there is no dwelling scoring. Like, and you only have access to 1 easily reached tile. So I'm thinking that the witches mostly took this for the power. But I don't know, wouldn't you take this one then? I don't know. I guess having access to G3 is nice. Probably worth more than a worker, right? So, okay, fair enough. But it meant I got the stronghold scoring tile, which is nice. I get the 2 workers, and I'm a little bit sad about how the dwelling placement wound up. Notice that I'm kind of like, my only neighbors are the cultists. And they're going to be happy to provide me with leech. But, like, they can only do so much, right? I would rather be kind of in the thick of things, but there's just no place to be in the thick of things. I could try E10, I guess. As well as G5, but I don't know. I like the idea of being able maybe to get to H5. Nah, I don't know. I was afraid of getting hemmed in, but now that I'm looking at it, like, it seems like E10 might be better. Because you kind of expect witches to go this way and engineers to go here, and you'll have a bunch of neighbors. Down here, I'm not really sure what the idea is. If I could get to H5, I could try to connect up in the south, which would be nice. Then I could maybe get a town here. I think I was actually thinking of building up this way, actually, was my plan. Yeah. I don't know if it's a good plan, but the idea was, if I start here, the cultists will be reasonably happy to just take G5 at some point to get to H7. But if I start here, they can't really get to my black tile, and nobody else wants it. So I have a very easily diggable town area that'll have enough neighbors. Plus, I threaten to take G6 away from the witches. Which is like maybe not the biggest deal because it doesn't seem like the witches are winning this game. The cultists are in a pretty commanding position. I think I'm probably aiming for second place this game, if I had to guess. I think the engineers and the witches are not, or I'm sorry, engineers. The engineers and the witches are probably not in great shape, and the cultists are. So it would be nice to beat them, but I wouldn't be surprised if they beat me. I don't know. We'll see. And what's my last game? It's my cultists game. I predicted, I believe. What did I predict? Because I know one of these games. Oh, it was actually the one we were just looking at, wasn't it? I said, after picking third, I was sure the last player should pick Chaos Magicians. I'm not sure why I said that, but that was what I thought, I'm pretty sure. The access to shipping, I don't know. Just because witches don't seem good, and like nothing else seemed all that great either. Anyway, in this game though, we got I was sort of hoping for engineers and witches, but that's sort of unrealistic. At least I got the engineers. Which is, I don't know. That's not even all that great for me, honestly. But there's very early cult digs, so I'm hopeful this is going to go okay. And this is one reason you like the engineers, is you get this nice kind of thing going that we saw in the other game where in Darklings. There's a cluster of stuff here, so you're getting lots of leech and lots of cult steps. I'm sort of expecting mermaids to take like E4, D5. And my tentative plan is to go E6, which will have E7 as a neighbor. I assume the engineers are going to be thrilled to go here. You know, they won't get C3 because mermaids will take it, but they still have a perfectly lovely town like this. And what I'd like to do, though, is grab E5 before the mermaids can do it. So I'm rather hoping... I don't know. Oh, right. I'd love to get the spade action. And I am player 3, so it's possible. But the mermaids get to pick first, and I think they probably want it as well. However, I could, say, take the shipping tile. And that would give me enough power to take a turn 1 power action. On the other hand, I'm only player 3, so I don't know. I might have trouble actually getting E5 before the mermaids can. Oh, no, that's right. I sort of expect the other players to kind of like try to hurry to secure Earth 1. And I'm going to delay doing that. I'll get some leech from them building trading posts, and I'll burn 4 to take E5 is my rough plan. That seems like a very important tile for me to have, especially if the mermaids are on E4. If they're not, whatever, I won't bother. But I expect the mermaids to be on E4, which means I have a partner to trade with and to give leech to. And a nice 3-tile town just perfectly laid out that nobody else wants to mess with. So I think securing E5 is more important than rushing to Earth 1, especially as cultists who tend not to get that many dwellings. They're, you know, working more on the cult tracks and less on the board. So Earth 1, I think, is less important to me. I'd be happy to have it, I think, but it's not crucial. I also want G4 soon. I don't... Oh, that's right. There's this kind of, like, weird, this weird thing going on where I want to get a lot of my digs from the cults early. The problem is, if I dig any yellow tiles, they turn brown, and then the Darklings can jump on them. So I have to be careful what order I take digs in. I want to get a dig in a round where I start before the Darklings, because then I can dig and then immediately build before they get a chance to snap it up. And I'd love to get G4 down to I8 as a town, right? That's kind of my plan for 2 towns, is just these 7 tiles. So I'm kind of thinking, like, I just take 3 actions in round 1 and then maybe get out of there. Right? Dig here. Upgrade one of these to a trading post, upgrade it to a temple, and then pass. I'll have a worker left, but I'll be at 4 Earth. And I'll get a spade, and then I can take G4 probably before the Darklings, but I don't know. They might just, like, trading post temple pass, in which case, like, I'm a little bit sad. Anyway, just some thoughts about how this game might go. We'll see. Well, we've looked at all of them now, right? Yeah. All right, well, that's going to be it until the season is over, I think. I put some thought into, like, if I could... It would be a more exciting video series, I think, if I were recording, like, my thoughts every time I make a move. But that would be, like, a 12-hour-long epic, I think. And also it would mean I couldn't, like, just make moves on my phone when a move comes in, or, you know, during the workday when an email comes in, I can go, oh yeah, I've got a move to make. If I wanted to record my thoughts at every move, I couldn't do that. So I think I'm not going to. So we're just going to get 4 more videos at the end of the season about how the games went. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed these faction selection videos, and, oops, didn't mean to click on anything there. And, let me know if you have any thoughts, but, you know, these games are ongoing, so don't try to give me any important tips, just, like, I don't know, whatever feedback that is not, like, helping my performance in the tournament, I guess. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the end of the season.